name, man?
Hi, my name is Matt, Ranger Matt, and welcome to another day with Slick, a better you. Over the last 3 years, I've had the pleasure of meeting many different people, book authors, pastors, singers, motivational speakers, people from television, people from the daytime serial world, and people from Disney.
Why am I asking you this? I already know this. You're from where I'm at, Baltimore native.
Over these 3 years, I've heard many excellent stories. I've had many wonderful conversations, good laughs, and I've always enjoyed hearing stories from people in terms of how they got from point A to point B to where they are today. I've had a blast doing this, and I can't wait to see what else is in store. So sit back, relax, and here's a new episode of Slick, a better you.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You know, it's a messed up family.
Well, howdy, folks, and welcome to another day with Slick, a better you. To help advance others, you got to better yourself. So when you better yourself, you can help better advance others who are in need. How is everybody doing today? I hope everybody is cool. I got my cool beverage because it's hot like bricks outside. I got another amazing guest here today. Her name is Miss Teri Brown. She's a book author, and I am psyched about this because, like I say all the time, each time I have a new guest on, I always learn something new, something different. I don't know if they learn anything new from me other than to saddle up on a horse, you know, because I'm the country man here. But anyway, let me get my guest on. Let me bring her on, Miss Teri Brown. Hey, Teri.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's wonderful. What's the weather like where you at? Is it hot?
Hot.
Oh, yeah.
Coast of North Carolina, it is probably not quite as hot as like inland because it's, we've got a little bit of the coastal breeze, but this week they're talking about like record-breaking temperatures and so hot.
Right.
Stay inside, drink your water. Yeah.
That's the plan. I was just out in it from work. So, I'm like, nah, I'm ready for the AC now. Bring on that and the cold beverage.
I'm sure you are.
So this is my first time meeting you. This is a question I ask all my guests. So I wanted to ask you, how did you and your family, I know it's been 2 years since the pandemic started, but like, how have you and your family pulled through or handled since the COVID happened?
So nobody really believes it when I tell them. My husband and I, so the beginning of the pandemic was kind of crazy, like with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with my daughter, son-in-law, and a 14-month-old granddaughter living with us for a couple of months because he had to work from home. They didn't really have the space to do that, so they lived here with us. But then in June of 2020, my husband and I got on a tandem bicycle and rode from the coast of Oregon to Washington, D.C.
Whoa.
3,102 miles.
Whoa. Jeez. You weren't tired a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Whoa.
So that's how we handled it. That's how we did it. And while doing that, we raised money for Toys for Tots.
Hey, congratulations. I hope that panned out well.
It did. We were able to raise $34,000, and we got every child in the 2 counties in our area that asked for a bicycle got a bicycle, and every agency that asked for help for kids got it that year. So it was excellent. It really worked out well.
Absolutely, and I'm happy for that. And I'm glad that y'all was able to, y'all was biking it out there. That's a lot of miles.
It is a lot of miles, but it's interesting. A lot of people were stuck. They were stuck in their houses. They couldn't go anywhere or do anything.
Right.
And for my husband and I, we didn't get to spend a lot of time with other people, but we were together, but we were outdoors. And I got to see the entire nation at 10 miles an hour. So it really, I know it was a miserable time, but for us, it actually turned out to be one of the best ways to spend a pandemic.
Right.
And, if you're gonna have to be forced where you can't do the things you like to do, you might as well do something like that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta be creative.
Yeah, definitely.
So book Sunflowers Beneath the Snow, which
That's
is
it.
a very interesting title. I like that title. How did that book come about for you?
Okay, so it's really crazy. My daughters worked at a camp as camp counselors,
Mhm.
and in the summertime, and they always bring over international students to work for the summer. And those international students, they get summertime for working, and then they get a little extra time, and they get to see the United States. And they met a girl by the name of Ksenia, who was from Ukraine. And that was in 2013. And in 2014, she came back, was able to do it for the second summer. But at the end of the summer, she couldn't go home because Russia had invaded Ukraine.
Mm.
So Russia had not only invaded Ukraine, but had invaded right where her parents lived. So her parents
Wow.
were displaced. There was no home to go to. There were no flights going in, so she was forced to stay in the United States. Here it is, 8 years later. She's still here. She's never been home. She's never seen her parents again. Now she's talked with them,
Mm.
but she's not ever seen them again. So, that's a crazy story. In 2016, so she's now been in the United States for 2 years.
Right.
She came to visit us, and she was telling me this incredible story. It was so incredible that I was sure that I was misunderstanding what she was talking about, because I thought there's just no way that can't happen. So I thought, well, it's a language barrier. So I very slowly and carefully repeated what I thought I heard her telling me. And
Right.
lo and behold, it was real. And it was so incredible and so fantastic that I created 82,000 words of fiction so I could tell that ending.
82. Wow.
Yeah. So the book has a little bit of truth to it,
Mm-hmm.
but most of it is me making things up. But the last 3 pages of the last chapter, not the epilogue, but the
Mm-hmm.
last chapter, are true. And everything else is me making stuff up so that I could tell those 3 pages.
I hear you. Like, were you a writer growing up? I mean, did you ever have interest to write or do a book when you was growing up?
So as a little girl, I had 3 things that I said I wanted to be. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be a writer, and wow, I did that. I wanted to be an Olympic ice skater. That was never going to happen. And I wanted to be a brain surgeon, which is really interesting because I don't even like blood. So that was probably never going to happen either. But, as a kid, you have those ideas in your head.
Right.
All through my teenage years, I wrote. And of course, I did all of the typical teenage girl poetry, like whenever a boy would break your heart, and, you had to put it out there on paper. And, I did all of that. But then
Oh.
it was time to go to college, and I'm not complaining, but my family, writing wasn't considered a career. That's something that you kind of did like in your own time. So I didn't consider going to college to do that. I needed a career. And
Right.
so I didn't take any writing classes. I didn't do any of that. Then I got married. I had children. I homeschooled my kids, so was very busy. That relationship didn't last. I remarried, and that turned out to be an abusive relationship. And I lived in that relationship for 14 years. And
Sorry to hear that.
well, it is what it is. And luckily
Right.
I'm not in that now. But during that period of time, there was no writing. I didn't have what I call the bandwidth to even consider writing. I was too busy, surviving. And then when I left that relationship, immediately I had things to write. And
Yeah.
so I started writing. Prior to that, I was doing some nonfiction writing. So I was writing for small businesses, helping them with articles and things, but not character development, not anything that was like inside of me. It was just facts, and I was putting them on paper. But I think it helped prepare me, kind of get me ready for the fiction writing that I started. So I actually started that in 2017.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the journey, well, from what you just said, the journey you had, I can see how writing the book played it. I mean, your story could be an inspiration for somebody that is going through something that's in need, and you know, you can even run for president if you want to. You know?
I wouldn't want to do it. There's got to be other ways to have some kind of where you can help other people than be a president. I would hate to be part of the political scene right now. But no, that's one of the reasons why I don't have any problem talking about the fact that I was in an abusive relationship, or that I was able to get out, or that it took me 14 years to do that.
Right.
Because prior to being in a relationship like that, I would have said there was no way that would ever happen to me, that I would see it coming a mile away and I would know to walk away. But that isn't the way it works. And having lived in it now, and I understand that, you know, oh yeah, I'm a firm believer in talk about it, because there are people who are in my situation, or who were in the situation that I was in, that wonder, is there a way out? Is there light at the end of my tunnel? And the answer is yes, there can be.
Right.
You know, there can be. You have to make it, but there is light, and you can do it. And so, yeah, I'll talk to everybody about it, because not only is there light at the end of the tunnel, but when you finally do make that decision to move out and get beyond there, you can go on to do amazing things. I rode across the United States on a bicycle. I've now got my first book out. My second book has just been accepted. So there are things that can happen for you, and it's just a matter of getting the stuff you're stuck in out of your way, so that you can, you know, go forward.
I'm happy to hear about that. You know, you got a second book coming. Congratulations.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much.
When can we expect to see that one?
Well, it's called An Enemy Like Me, and I'm hoping January, maybe February. I'm working right now. I finished the last of the edits, and they're working on a cover. And so I think once we have those things in place, we'll be able to set a birth date for it. So, yeah.
That's an interesting term. I've never heard that. Set up a birth date for it. Wow.
Well, you know, it's got to come out into the world, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I gotta see this though. A book blowing out cakes and candles. You know, I gotta see this. It come into life. You know. Woo.
You know what? Just for you, I'm gonna create a picture of my book and some candles, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Please do that.
I will.
Oh my gosh. So this is like a vice versa question. I'm gonna ask the first one. So like, what's the best advice somebody has given you, and what's the best advice you've given to somebody?
Best advice I've gotten. I think the best advice that I've ever gotten, and unfortunately I didn't listen to it all the time, but I think that's true of anybody who gets advice. You have to live life and then realize, wow, that was good advice.
Right.
Which is to believe in yourself. You know, believe in who you are and what you can do. And I lost that for a while, but I've got it back again. So, you know, that's the best advice. And then the best advice that I can give to someone, well, besides believe in yourself, which I really think is great advice, I think if you're a writer in particular, my advice is just do it. Like, you know, be Nike and just do it. Don't wait. There's nothing to wait for. If you've got something, so it's not even a writer really. It's if you've got something you want to do, you know, don't put it on a bucket list and wait until you're 79. Go ahead and do it. And if something is stopping you, figure out what that is and get it out of your way and move on, because, you know, life is short. You only get to do it once. So
I was just getting ready to say that. I mean, that's something that's one thing I encourage people as well, is like, you know, if you got your mindset on something, do it. You know, even if it doesn't pan out to where you thought it would go, just try it, because like you said, life is short. You know, this pandemic, a lot of people have left us and people are still leaving here, you know, and it's like, you know, try it now while you can, while it's on your mind, you know, and then, you know, if nobody don't understand it, that's their problem. That's your goal, your prerogative, and your philosophy. So,
well, you know, I like I said, you've got one life, you've got one shot. You don't want to get to the end and say, gee, I really wish I had, and then name something. Go ahead and try it. The worst that can happen is that you fail at it. And I'd rather fail at something than to not have tried it.
Right. Exactly. See, if stuff like this is why you know you need your own show now. You can get on YouTube, or you know what, take off one of these reality shows they got on here and just put yourself on there. You know, I'm telling you, you would get high ratings.
I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, but see, they're not as nice as you, those reality shows, and they come in and they make you look bad and sound stupid.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not my case on my end. Like, did you? Well, not to kind of rephrase what I was saying, but like, you know, when you did your first book and now your second one, I mean, you know, I know you said earlier that you had an interest in writing. I mean, did you ever envision that one day, hey, my book is out? Like, you know.
So it has really been a crazy year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was June, so it's been 1 year, the book was accepted. And when I was on the phone with my publisher, I didn't realize that we were having the conversation where they were accepting my book. I thought we were having a conversation about if they were to ever accept my book, and they were telling me about how they do things.
Mm-hmm.
So we get through this long conversation, and I'm very calm because I'm clueless. And they said, do you have any questions? And I said, yeah, I have one question. You know, now that we've had this conversation and you have my manuscript, about how long does it take before you make a decision as to whether or not to accept the manuscript?
Right.
And he said, I think you misunderstood. If you accept our proposal, I'll be sending you a contract as soon as we hang up the phone.
Wow.
At which point I said, so he talked for another 10 minutes. I don't have any idea what he said. None. Because my mind was just like going 1,000 miles an hour. I ran upstairs. I've got my hand over the phone, and I'm trying to sign to my husband what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's like, what are you talking about? And I grabbed a piece of paper and I wrote, book, yes, exclamation point. And then I did my big eyes, and he looked at me and he said, they accepted your book. And I'm going, yes, they accepted my book. So then I came downstairs. Like I said, he's talking. I have no idea. He could have been saying anything at this point. Then my husband came down. I'm off the phone. I'm sobbing, just happy, but just crying. We went out he took me out to dinner. I cried. I got the contract and I cried. I signed the contract and I cried. When I saw the cover for the first time, I cried. When the book came to my door, I got a copy, and it says right across, author copy, do not sell. Right? Like, I sobbed. I walked around holding it to my chest. Like, oh my gosh. The first time when I got my big box of books, I cried. The first time someone came and said, hey, I understand you're an author. Can I buy one of your books? It has been a crazy, crazy ride. My first review, and it was a good review. Mm-hmm. And I just started to sob because somebody else liked my book. Do you know, like, it's like your baby. You're throwing it out there and you're saying, okay, world, how are you going to treat it? Are you going to be good? Right. And people have been, and it's been amazing. So the answer is, well, maybe somewhere in the back of my head, I thought maybe perhaps I could potentially do it, but I didn't really have any clue what it was going to feel like.
Right.
And it has really felt good.
I'm sure. I mean, when you're new to something, especially something like that, and it's big, you never know where that's going to go. And then from, like you said, the moment it's sold, and there's somebody, a fan wants one, and the next one, and the next one. And I'm sure you've been to have you been in like book signing events yet?
Yes, those are so fun. Oh, I had. Now this is one that made me laugh. I have a neighbor. I don't know her super well. She's relatively new to the area. She's been to my home a couple of times. We had a Christmas event and she came to that. My husband helped her fix her bike, those kinds of things. Well, she came up to the door and said, I didn't know you were an author. And I said, well, my book just came out. Like, this was back in February. My book had only been out a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, can I buy it? And I said, well, sure, Marie, no problem. And she came in and I said, did you want me to sign it? Oh, would you sign it? And it's like, Marie, I'm the same person that I was last week when my husband fixed your bike and you didn't know I was an author. Like, nothing has changed. But in her mind, everything had changed. And
Right.
she said to me, I've never spoken to an author before. I've never had a book signed by an author before. And it's like, do people feel that way about plumbers? I don't think
What?
so. You know?
About plumbers.
Yeah, because it's like everybody has a job, but somehow this idea of being an author kind of, so you go to these book signings and it's like having a fan base, and people are standing there going, "Ooh, will you sign my book?" And
Right.
it's like, yeah, I'll do that. It's a crazy feeling. It's just everything about this has been crazy.
Listen, I know exactly how you feel about that one. I don't know if Dom had told you, but I'm a photographer and I've done some short films as well. I'm a filmmaker. And the very first time, like my third short film got played at the Maryland Film Festival at my college. And I put my buddies in there. And the second that happened, they was like, can I get your autograph? I'm like, dude, I'm the same guy, all these years. And now when I see them, they just call me, hey, future Tyler Perry or Spike Lee or like all them producers. And I'm like, I'm just me. I'm still the same
It's
me,
the same. Like I went to the grocery store earlier today, like this is just who I am. But it is really interesting. So doing those signings, that's a lot of fun. Plus, I really enjoy talking to people who've read the book or who want to read the book. I get a big charge out of talking about what I've written. So those are a lot of fun for me. And it's the other reason, like, I love coming on shows like this, because I get to talk about my book. And I get to talk about, writing and all the things that like really make me happy. So, yeah.
And I can tell you're happy. I'm feeling
No,
that. I'm feeling that energy over here in the Baltimore area. That done spread my way.
Awesome.
Man. So well, I was gonna say, well, you already mentioned you're working on your next book. I was gonna say, what are you working on throughout the remainder of the year?
So I actually do have, I have a big author retreat coming up on June 20th. I'll be gone for 2 weeks where I have nothing to do but write. Like nothing. Nobody gets to bother me. I cook my own meals, and that's the only thing that I have to do is make sure that I feed myself.
Right.
So for 2 weeks, I am given a room, and I have a desk, and I have this beautiful mansion that I'm in, and I get to be on several hundred acres, and I can walk in the gardens, and it's just amazing. And so I have a book idea in mind, and it's been like spitting in my head. I don't quite know where it's going, but it's about, I'm going to say about 1880, 1890. It's going to be North Carolina mountains, and it's going to be a woman who's a healer.
Mm-hmm.
Who uses the healing arts, before doctors were, off to college and, 27 years in college and huge debt. So at the point where people did things like, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but my brother was telling me about a friend who can talk off warts. So if you have a wart, he can talk to it, and within a week, it just falls off. So he's telling me, yes, so that's what I said. And I thought, there's no way. This is just my brother. My brother BS's all the time. And I was sure he was just pulling my leg. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, this is like a mountain thing. And people can do things like blow in the mouth of a baby and get rid of thrush, and talk to a pregnant woman and get the baby to flip, and talk a fire, the heat out of a burn, So I'm going to have, this character is going to be someone who has those gifts, and we're going to kind of explore that. So we'll see where it goes. I have no idea where the story's going. I just have the characters. So
Look, please explore that one because that sounds interesting. You know, I gotta find out. You know, let me see if I see a pregnant lady can talk this so maybe can flip over.
flip over. I mean, there's just some of the things that I was reading. I thought that is really. It's like both crazy and unbelievable, but phenomenal at the same time. And
right.
since I've started talking about it, I've had people contact me and say, "Oh yeah, I got burned as a child, and there was this person who talked the burn out of my. I don't even have a scar, and I should have, I could have potentially lost my hand.
Wow.
And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. So yeah, I'm going to explore this. This is going to be great. This is going to be great.
Are you sure you didn't look up Ripley's Believe It or Not?
No, honestly, I didn't. I was just having a regular conversation with my brother. And I was having it because I had a wart and it was on my thumb. And I was angry because my doctor wouldn't remove it. I had to go see a specialist. And I thought,
wow.
when did doctors start doing that? And I ended up just going to CVS and getting one of those little Band-Aidy things that takes care of it. Well, I was complaining to my brother. And that's when he said, well, why didn't you just have someone talk it off? And I said, dude, what? What are you talking about?
Oh.
So, and then a character was born, and there you have it. That's how characters are born, right there.
I'm trying to see if I got a word so I can try to talk to it because that's new to me.
So look that up. If you look up "talk off a wart," you'll find all kinds of information. It is pretty amazing.
Please don't lose that idea. Write it down or something. Don't lose that idea. That sounds like an interesting story. That I was gonna say that sounds. I was gonna say on the soap opera level, but you know what? No, this is an adventure. This is like a reboot of the TV show Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's like a historical fiction. Bring in all kinds of like mountain lore kind of stuff, and I just. I've done, so I have one in World War II, and then I have one in Ukraine, and this one's going to be North Carolina mountains. So as you can see, I don't have like a particular area, but I do really like historical fiction, and I really like family saga type stories where you've got a couple of generations of family and you kind of see the same thing from several viewpoints of people of different ages who've had different life experiences.
Hey, I can't wait to see this because now you got me. I'm still on this ward. I'm still on this ward thing. Talk the ward off. Like
talk the ward off. Look it up. I'd never heard it before either.
Wow. I was going to say your brother had a wild imagination, but I'm gonna have to look this up to find this out.
Well, see, and I really did. So my brother is known for telling me things, and then I fall for it.
Right.
And, I've always been that person in our family. I'm always the one falling for things. And then everybody laughs. There goes Teri. She's so gullible. So I just really didn't believe him. But part of me needed to know. So I looked it up and lo and behold, he was telling me the truth. So.
Right. One thing I gotta say though about your book, I don't have a copy of your book, but I'm tempted to get my copy as well because I want to hear you. You're a very creative person. I can tell. I mean, obviously, Sunflowers Beneath the Sun was not. Sunflower was talking the wart off the snow. So
No. So it's interesting. When we came up with that name, it was before anyone knew that Ukraine had anything to do with sunflowers.
Right.
But, that is their national flower. And I was trying to come up with a way of talking about the fact that, there are people who are struggling, who are kind of like, in the winter of their lives that are going to eventually blossom and bloom. Right. And, that's where this whole idea, the sunflower is there beneath the snow, just waiting for the snow to go away. And that's what these three women are. Right. And that's really what Ukraine is. As it waited to blossom again. And, and now we've got the whole crazy going on there now. So the fact that this story is about 3 generations of Ukrainian women and came out when it did is phenomenal in terms of like timing. I've never seen anything like it. So I'm really hoping that when people read the book, they can get a better understanding of like the history so that they know what's going on in Ukraine right now, and they can gain kind of an empathy and compassion so that they can look at what's going on there and say, what can we do to help? And one of the ways you can help is when you purchase my book, I'm using part of the proceeds to a Ukraine foundation. So.
Oh, excellent. That's really good. Yeah. Wow. I'm listening. I'm just, I'm looking that up actually because it just interests me, and it's right. Yeah. When somebody says that, talking ward off.
Yeah, there it is. Right. I'm not pulling your leg.
Meaning
It really exists.
Wow. You
can also look up Fire Talker. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. So.
Well, remember in the intro when I said I always learn something new from people I have on?
You never thought you were going to learn that.
No.
Say, I'm talking to a lady about a Ukrainian book, and I'm going to find out about warts. And I didn't think that was...
No, that was now on my to-do list. But you know what? I'm glad that you taught me, though. I'm engaged now. I'm going to investigate this one.
Super.
Well, another question I normally ask people is like what kind of music do you listen to?
Music, everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything. I love 1940s all the way through to what's playing today. I like classical music. I tend not to like rap or really, really, really hard rock where it's mostly like guitar and screaming and drums that are too loud.
Right.
But just about everything else. And so I'll listen to like right before we came on, I was listening to the 60s channel, 60s on 6 on Sirius XM. And I love 50s music. I love 40s swing, big band. I know all the words to all the Beatles songs.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm very eclectic. And if you were to say, let's just take your lists and put them on, just see what plays next.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what you would get? You could get like Rod Stewart doing his crooning music. Have you heard him singing his like 1940s crooner music? It's amazing. So you might have that popped right next to Queen, popped right up to the Foreigner to, off to some country songs. So you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, my mother is a huge Queen fan. I don't know if she's seen the movie that they did. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I've heard
she
of it.
She hasn't either. I've slightly seen it, and I like it. It's a good one. And you were talking about Beatles. I was saying, oh my goodness, because I as a guy I used to work with, I just changed jobs back in April. He was a mean Beatles fan. Anything Beatles, that's why whenever somebody say Beatles, I'm like, oh my gosh. But I do like Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney. He was just here in Baltimore yesterday. So.
Yeah. No, it's funny with Beatles music. My dad loved Beatles, and as a little girl we had the Abbey Road album. Mm-hmm. and it sat downstairs by the record player, back when they were record players. And as a kid I would put that album on and play it over and over and over, and I know every word by heart to all of those songs without even thinking. Like I hear one of those and I start singing because that's just part of me growing up. But no, I love music. It's kind of the way I feel about books, though. People ask me like, what's your favorite book or who's your favorite author? And it's like, I don't have one. I love books. I love people who write good books.
Right.
And so if it's got a good character in it, then I'll read it. It doesn't have to be a particular genre or anything. It just, is it a good character? Great. Let me read that.
I'm the same way. If it's a book that will interest me, I'm kind of the opposite. Like I'll read a book, but because of me being a delivery driver, doing what I do, I buy the audio books at times. So I'll listen to it while I'm on the road, and I'm like, oh, I'm engaged now. I'm interested.
Yeah, and then it makes it hard to stop for your deliveries.
I know. I'm like, oh, I want to know what happens next. No. and I'm the same way with music too. You know, I like them all except for rap and heavy metal. I do listen to all kinds. I tell people, and it might sound a little strange, but I'm somebody where like I'll listen to like the instrumentalness of a song, where it's just the music and not the singing. So that's kind of how I am. I guess that's the jazz in me, but like
and
any.
I love jazz. Oh, saxophone.
Oh,
Wow. Oh,
I love saxophones.
The best.
I always say that that's something we missed now that we had back in the 80s is saxophones and music. It's just, you know, I love saxophones.
Oh, I love saxophone too. Absolutely love a good saxophone. In fact, one of the reasons why I like Billy Joel, because he'll pull out that saxophone every so often, and I'm just like, oh,
oh my gosh. I need to talk to Billy Joel to see, is there like a saxophone playing to clear the ward off the hands, you know?
See, wouldn't that be cool? Then you could do that. That could be your new job. You could play the saxophone to knock people's warts off, and they would pay you for it. I don't know exactly how that would work.
I was thinking, like, where you going with this one? But you know what? That is actually on my to-do list to learn how to play the saxophone. So maybe I should do that. Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting is I played the saxophone from the 4th grade until I graduated high school.
Okay.
So now I didn't play. I mean, I played band music in the school band, so it's not like I was ever good at it, but I can play it. I think I still could play it. Like I still remember the fingerings. I think I could do it.
Now you didn't tell me you was also a musician. Where's your album at?
No.
I need to stream. You know.
No. I would say musician would be a really, really large word for what I am. I am more like I enjoy music and I dabble with a few instruments in the privacy of my own home.
Right. Yeah, when you said that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me go on YouTube when we get off here and see Teri Brown, greatest hits.
Never gonna find it.
You know, I'm sure when you said record earlier, I was like, you know, somebody probably said, what's a record?
What's a record? Yeah.
Right.
That vinyl, and it's round, has a little hole in it. You stick this needle on it, it jumps around, so you put the penny on it to keep it from going anywhere.
I tell people it's like a round pizza frisbee. You can fling it, but and you play music. This was the time before where it is now, and I'm old enough to say that too.
Way before now. There's been a lot between then and now. You know, we had the 8-track, we had the cassette, and then we had the CDs, and now they just stream it.
Right.
Yeah, like lots has changed.
I know. I still got like a mini cassette player that my mother used to play in the car, and I used to go on the radio at boombox and record songs, and got to flip the tape over when it's done, and you know,
stick the pencil in it to get it to go because it got all tangled up. Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah,
right. That's like when you tell somebody, you know, they be like, "What's a videotape?" Well, this is a device before streaming. You could record stuff on TV.
And then you had to remember to rewind. Be kind, rewind.
Right. I wore out so many tapes, so many VHS players over the years as a kid from rewinding constantly.
Right. Same show over and over, right?
Exactly. Man, well, Teri, I gotta tell you, I've had a blast talking with you today. It's been a lot of fun. I am so glad I had a chance to talk with you. I mean, you know, I didn't know about the war part. You know, the war, cleaning, the talking, the wars, and talking the burn off. I mean, I learned some things new today. But you know what? I'm proud of what you're doing. I'm looking forward to your new book when it comes out.
Thank you.
I want to zoom you in. Is there anything you want to say to the fans that's watching or will be watching? Hold on.
Oh, yes. So I just want to make sure that everyone, first of all, knows that I'm really thankful for readers, because if there weren't readers, then writers would have absolutely nothing to do. So I'm really grateful. And be sure to follow me. Just head on over to my website, which is www.terrymBrown.com. And that's Terry with one R and M like Mary. And you can follow me on my social media. You can join my newsletter. I've got a contact form there, so you can reach out and say hello. And I love talking with people, so feel free to contact me.
Absolutely. You're going to learn a lot from this lady. I know I have today, this fun, energeticness, we need more like this out here in the world today. I'm telling you.
Well, thank you.
Oh man. Well, Terry, thanks so much for coming by my podcast today. I had a blast. When your new book come out, I want to bring you back so we can talk about that one.
Fantastic. We'll do it.
Absolutely. Well,
all right. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll be with you in 1 second.
All righty.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in today for another day with Slick, a better you. And like I tell you always, in order to advance yourself, in order to help others, you got to advance and grow yourself. Because once you grow yourself, you can help better advance others in need. Talk to the wart, clear off. Just kidding. No. Well, guys, thanks much for tuning in. Stay hydrated, stay cool, because it is hot like bricks outside. I know I said that earlier. And stay blessed. God bless. Stay safe. Love you guys. Until next time. Have a good night now.